welcome to VC Circle. Today I have with me Mr. Dave Richards, who is the co-founder and the managing partner of the United Seed Fund, to discuss more about the growth of the fund and the future that the fund holds for India. Thank you for coming on the show, sir.
You're welcome. Good to be here.
How has the online education sector evolved in India over the past half a decade or so?
Sure. Well, I think what we've seen is India has been very behind in many ways in accessing PCs. I mean, PCs have not had nearly the penetration here as it has in other markets. But what you've seen is the explosion of mobile devices, in particular smartphones, as well as now tablets starting to pick up. And what you're starting to see is those are now becoming available in a cost-effective manner for large populations in India, and that's now providing a digital platform for delivering education. So I think what we're seeing is there's new opportunities because there's a new platform that's being offered that can actually bring digital content to education. So whether it's directly to a teacher to be able to use in a classroom, or directly to a student to be able to work directly off their mobile phone or a tablet or other kinds of things with content, it creates a new platform which creates a new opportunity for entrepreneurs who are building businesses that are building solutions and building education solutions. So we think it's creating new opportunities.
You invested in LabApp just today, I guess.
Yeah.
And then you had investments in iStar, which is a skill development online platform. Now, as far as skill development is concerned, government is also targeting Skill India campaign,
right?
Okay, which is much for a lower base, rather than bottom of the pyramid, rather than educating the upper pyramid.
Right.
How do you think the sector would evolve, and do you see any mileage in the sector going forward?
Yeah. Well, as you know, India, one of the statistics is there's 1 million new people, 10 lakh people every month that turn 18. And many of them don't have the skills to work in the economy, to work in the jobs that can make them reasonable livings. So we're seeing as the government has many initiatives to try and address that with programs. And what we're seeing is that with a company like iStar, which is working with, in many cases, definitely not the more well-off, but more the more basic educated people in India. The challenge right now is that something like 90% of students that graduate from these tier 2, tier 3 colleges don't have the skill sets to even get the entry-level jobs. So you've got a company like iStar, which has been very successful in changing the outcomes of those by inserting and bringing modern job-ready capabilities to students. LabApp is the company that we had just invested in, announced today. And what they're doing is trying to bring science learning into elementary classrooms, into earlier stage classrooms at an affordable cost. And it's a convergence of the availability now of, so most of these classrooms that the average kids are going to don't have good science labs in them. They just don't have the budget to go buy a good science lab. And so you're starting to see a company like LabApp who's created on a tablet now, a low-cost tablet. You can now do 3D versions of science experiments, learn science concepts, I should say. And so this is bringing, at a much lower cost, the best quality education material right into even lower income schools. So that's what we're really excited about, is they're leveraging this availability of these low cost tablets to now bring high quality science education to even pretty basic schools in India.
You just launched your Star Edu 3 program for startups. Okay, just tell us more about that.
Sure. So earlier this year we ran 2 competitions under the Start EDU program, and this was for entrepreneurs who are creating new startups in the education space. And we had such a positive response. We had over 100 applicants that came into that program, and we decided that we would launch a third program, the third competition. So yeah, we just announced that, and what we've announced is it's open now for applications. There's a 5 lakh prize for the best company, but more importantly, the opportunity is to get mentored for everyone who gets into this program by one of our incubator partners. So if you've got an idea that is just percolating, it's early stage, you're sort of getting things together, and you'd like to get some help in refining that idea, this program is a great option. Even if you don't win the prize at the end, you're going to get some benefit out of this. And so our goal here is to help build and support entrepreneurs who are trying to innovate in the education space. So the prize of 5 lakhs, the top 2 companies in the 2 startups in the competition also get to pitch us for a potential seed investment. And we'll invest, up to $1 crore and a half in companies that are ready for a seed investment. But this gives them a new opportunity to get exposure to an investor like us, who's a very active investor in the education space.
How do you combine the dual objectives of doing good plus maximizing profits in the Indian space?
Yeah. So the way we look at it is we're a specialty investor. And what we specialize in is we invest in businesses that are innovating for the masses in India. So that's our specialty. We wake up every morning, we're looking for people who are making breakthroughs in things that are bringing cost benefits, driving down costs, increasing accessibility. Because in a market like India, if you can create a high quality product at a price that's affordable, or a service like in the case of education, there's massive demand. And the reason that a lot of products don't get and services aren't delivered in a place like India is because one of the two major barriers. One is cost, and the other is accessibility. So that's why we really like the technology aspect of a lot of education solutions as well, because technology is a way to get it to market. It's a way to deliver it to people at a low cost. So we're looking for businesses that can scale up very rapidly, that can be highly profitable, and that serve the masses. And so we think you can both have a positive impact by doing that, because you're bringing new services, in this case, better education to outcomes to low-income populations, and also be very profitable.
Now, we've talked about education, and we'd like to talk about expanding horizons. Will Unitus look at healthcare as well? Because education is one sector that you've actually made a name for yourself.
Yeah.
Right? Now, will you venture into healthcare, which is another sector where you can serve the population, the bottom of the pyramid, and where you can serve them, I think, in a technologically effective way?
Yeah.
So are you looking at healthcare for that?
We are. So actually we've made 6 investments already in healthcare in India. So healthcare and education are probably our 2 largest segments, and we're very positive about healthcare as well. We just recently made an announcement of a company we've invested in that's bringing a new affordable radiation-free breast cancer screening device to India, a company called UE Life Sciences, that we're really excited about, that has the potential of saving lakhs of people's lives in India by detecting breast cancer earlier than right now it's possible to detect it based on the technologies deployed in the market. And we've invested in a telemedicine company called WellCare that brings eye screening to diabetics at an affordable cost to the average man or woman diabetic in the country. And unfortunately, India is the highest diabetes country in the world, with over 60 million people, 6 crores of people that have diabetes today. So these are examples. So I think in combination with this, we also have an investment program called our Start Health program, which allows us to work with really early stage technology-driven healthcare companies. And so UE Life Sciences, which is the company I mentioned earlier, and also a company called IMMI Life, which is a cardiac mobile advisory company. Those both companies have both come in, and we're working with them really early. We've also got been able to get them access to our partners, Narayana Health and Monopole Hospital Group. So we're trying to bring together parties that can help entrepreneurs in these early stages with not only just the capital, but also the support they need to get off the ground, basically.
What is the return expectation that you have from the fund, and how much have you achieved?
Yeah, so we're a very young fund. We've only been around a couple of years, and we're also a very early stage investor. We're usually the first money outside of friends and family that invests in these businesses. So it'll be a few more years before we start to see exits from our companies. But I think one thing to measure that is positive is we're starting to see a number of our companies raise more capital. And so what that means is they are demonstrating that they are adding value, and they are reducing risk, and such that later stage investors, people who come in at multiple millions of dollars, are now starting to invest in a number of our companies. So I think you'll start to see, we've announced a number of those already, and you'll start to see a number more of those in the next few months.
Now, on that related topic, what about exits?
Yeah, so exits are a big challenge in general in the Indian market, historically, I should say, for sure. But I think what we're starting to see some positive signs in the market of more M&A activity. So we've started to see companies, particularly startups, buying other startups, or companies that are venture-backed, I should say, buying other venture-backed companies. You're starting to see more international investors coming in. Obviously at a little bit later stage to buy out things. You don't see as much domestic M&A activity. That's quite limited. But the other thing that is quite active in India is secondary sales. So we think that a number of the companies we've invested in, our exit is going to be through a secondary sale. So that means a later stage investor, in addition to putting money in the company, would buy out an investor like us at an early stage. That's what we'll be looking for in the next few years.
Talking about the seed fund part, the corpus that you have at this point of time is somewhere close to 23 million.
Yeah.
Okay. Are you looking at increasing the size of the fund? If I were to ask you, how much more are you looking to come into India?
Sure. So at this point right now, our fund is closed, so we're not raising any more money. But we'll probably be at some point raising a second fund. Okay. And I think we're seeing the opportunity in India for sure. So it's more a matter of timing.
What are the models? This is the last question. Everybody's been blurry on this. What are the models that are going to make billion-dollar businesses in the edutech space? You could discuss that with us.
Well, that's a good question, because there haven't been many even historically to have billion-dollar businesses. I think what you're going to see is it's going to probably come out of the mobile space, something in the mobile space. Because I think, as you're probably aware of, in India now has just an astronomical growth in this area we'll call affordable smartphones. So you can get a smartphone now for as little as 2,500 rupees for a basic Android phone, and every week it's getting a little bit cheaper. So this is providing a platform where even kids will be able to have, even kids in rural areas will be having smartphones. Someone has said that in the next couple of years it'll almost be impossible not to buy a smartphone because the price will come down so low. So I think in this space, that would be the area. It's something that's going to be mobile first. It probably has some aspect of gaming involved in it, I would guess, because of some nature like that, but also in the educational space.
Okay. And that's about it. Thank you. Thanks a lot for your time.
You're welcome. Thank you.